3 basic steps. You need to tether yourself safely. There are a few ways to do this, which we'll talk about. After tethering yourself, you need to untie, thread the rope, and feed half of it down the cliff without dropping your rope, so we'll talk about that. And then lastly, you need to transition to the rappel. I've got a pretty standard 2 quick draw anchor. Of course, I could have used a cordelette or a double length sling or a variety of other materials, but that again is what you see the most at a sport climbing crag. And I'm going to use the tool I use the most for the first step, which is tethering. You see a lot of people using a double length sling or a length of cordelette as a personal tether. Some people have store-bought personal tethers that are intended just for that application, like the PAS. But again, I'll just show you what I do the most, and I do see a lot of people doing this as well. So I've clipped a shoulder sling to one of the bolts and then to my belay loop, and I'll take another one, clip it to the other bolt. In this case, I'm just clipping to the ring because these are beefy steel rings. If you saw those really skinny aluminum rings, you'd want to clip directly to the bolt hanger. And I clipped my first sling that way, so I'll clip this one the other way. They're opposite and opposed, so it's very unlikely I could unclip both of them. Now I'm hanging directly on the anchor, so I can call off belay. Great. Now, step 2 is going to be getting the rope threaded and half of it down to the ground without dropping it. That would be super embarrassing, right? To untie and drop the rope and then have to wait for somebody else to lead the climb and rescue you. So let's talk about how to avoid that. Just take an arm length of rope, and I left those draws on there for a reason. I'm going to clove hitch my rope to one of those draws. Before you untie from a climbing rope, just do a quick reality check. Okay, I'm tethered, opposite and opposed to 2 bolts. Just don't untie lightly. That should be something you think twice before doing. All right, taking the knot out so I can feed it through the rings. I want to make sure the rings are hanging in their neutral alignment. If I put a twist in them and then thread and try to pull my rope, it could be a pain to pull. So I've pulled my end through, right? I was tethered to that quick draw there. Now I'm going to take the end I've pulled through and tether to the other quick draw. Now I can undo this first clove hitch, right? Because if I drop the rope, it's not going anywhere. And now I can pull, this is the end I fed through, now I can pull until I see my middle mark. If I don't have a middle mark, I might need the people on the ground helping me out here, letting me know when this end leaves the ground, and then I'll drop this one. I should have tied a knot to close my system before I did this climb, so there's already a knot in this end of the rope. And before I drop this end, I'm going to put a stopper knot in it. Don't wrap off the end of your rope. So just pulling until I see that nice middle mark. If you have a bi-pattern rope, that's great. The middle's super easy to spot. If I didn't have anybody on the ground paying attention to help me know when the ends were on the ground, and if I didn't have a middle mark or a bi-pattern, what could I do? I could stack the whole rope here, right? Or lap coil it, and then feed out both ends to make sure I end up with the middle here and both ends on the ground. Okay, so middle mark is in the anchor, right there. So now I can undo this clove hitch, put that stopper knot in the end, let people know I'm going to do it, rope, and drop my end. These have now done their job. And now we'll go to step 3, which is transitioning safely to the rappel. So, first step, set up your belay rappel device. Now I can set up my third hand. And I like an auto block. Always test a friction hitch. Good. So now I'm on my belay device and my tether can come off. And I'm ready to go down. So that's it, 3 steps. Tether yourself, feed the rope through and make sure both ends are on the ground, and then transition safely to that rappel.